Good afternoon.
Hi, my name is Robin Emond, and I'm from the town of Cheshire. First of all, I'd like to thank Senator Joe Markley and Representative Al Adinolfi for co-sponsoring Bill SB 123. And I would also like to thank former Senator Glenn Suzio for keeping up the fight. I am here in full support of SB 123, an act of repealing the Risk Reduction Credit Program. From the day the Risk Reduction Credit Program was enacted, I felt offended, even violated by my government, to think that our government would actually give any convicted criminal an opportunity to earn credits to get out of jail without fulfilling their sentence is like giving them a get out of jail free card. Except this isn't a game. Innocent law-abiding citizens have been victimized, murdered, raped, even sexually assaulted by these people. If only we can save one life. This statement has been repeated over and over again by legislators and the anti-gun groups. Tell me, why is this dangerous bill still on the books? Why wouldn't the bill have been repealed almost instantaneously when there was the first victim of an early release prisoner, or second or third? If only we can save a life, really? This early release program is just one more reason why every law-abiding citizen in Connecticut should own a gun. We must be able to protect ourselves and our families from violent early release prisoners that our government has thrust upon the good law-abiding citizens of Connecticut. I have noticed that there are many other bills that have been coming out addressing the Risk Reduction Credit Program. But what I see is that there are exceptions for those already in the program. How will this make anyone safer? How many more violent crimes committed by these early release prisoners is too many? How many are already enlisted in this program? And on my testimony, I didn't have that number until I got here today. We just learned that there's 8,000 to 10,000 people enlisted in this program right now. This number is overwhelming. This bill ahead of us today will stop violent criminals who may become or continue to be repeat offenders from being released onto the streets of Connecticut. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony today. Any questions? Senator Meyer.
I think from the passion of your testimony, you and I are going to disagree, but and I do speak as a former federal prosecutor, and I put a lot of people away for long periods of time in prison. 48 out of our 50 states have these kinds of sentence credit programs. They're called in most of the states good time, and their purpose is, if properly controlled, is to stop the very high recidivist rate. Connecticut has about the highest recidivist rate. That means criminals who commit crimes after they're released. It's about 60 to 65%. And one of the reasons why, there are some criminals who will never change, but some you can change if you've got strong rehabilitation programs where they learn not to have to be on substance abuse, programs where they get a high school degree or a college degree or some kind of vocational training while they're in prison. And what these credits that this bill would repeal does is it provides that if an inmate takes a program to rehabilitate himself or herself, that the superintendent of the prison can, it's discretionary, reduce the actual amount of the sentence. And it has an exception for particularly violent convicts, people who have committed violent crimes. There's another bill that's pending here today before this committee, which wouldn't repeal it. You're seeking us to repeal the credits. The other bill, which is supported by the Republican leader of the House of Representatives here in Connecticut, would make our current credits tougher by excluding a further class of violent criminals from being able to earn those credits. And that's a bill that I feel that I'm going to vote for. But to repeal what we often call throughout the country and in the federal sentencing, what we call good time, I think is a bad idea and would work against the result that you're seeking.
Well, we've heard testimony today that is conflicting with what you're saying. I was also told by a corrections officer, I will not repeat names or anything, but there are violent criminals being released, and I would hope eventually somebody would come forward with the truth of this, because I got word that they were driven to the center of Waterbury, handcuffed in the police cruiser, and released on the streets. If they're not violent, why are they handcuffed? Why are they put in a police cruiser and escorted to the center of Waterbury and dumped off in the center of town? You know, there's a lot of things happening that the truth isn't coming out on.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, that's why the other bill will not repeal our program, but will make it stronger by expanding the violent felons who will not be eligible for any credits on their sentence.
And how do we know that these people are actually not just signing up for the credits and actually going through the process? They've already gotten their sentences reduced when they're convicted 90% of the time. Why are we excelling that and getting these people back out on the streets? Why are we awarding criminals? They need to do their sentence.
Okay, because
promoting them to keep doing
this is a good dialogue. See, I believe the biggest law and order issue in Connecticut and in America, the biggest law enforcement issue in America and in Connecticut, is what we do not do in our prisons. I think the vacuum of the lack of programming, the lack of bringing about change, and there's some criminals you'll never change, but there is a good percentage you can change, and because we don't do that, you and I and everybody in this room is threatened every day by criminal activity, by somebody who has been in prison, who's gotten out, who's committed another crime. And it's a real violence problem in this country. We imprison, you probably know this, we imprison on a per capita basis more than any other country in the world. And we have the highest recidivist rate in the world. I tell you something, we're doing something wrong. And our sentence reduction program, while not the best, and we're trying to amend it today, is something that can help us go in the right direction and bring about the same result that you and I both seek, even though you don't agree with it.
Right. Well, and that's why our society is put at danger because of what is going on, and that is why we should have the right to continue to protect ourselves with our Second Amendment rights. So this all kind of correlates together, and you know, that's why I'm here, not only speaking for this because I believe this is a very bad program that you have, but I also believe you're making law-abiding citizens trying to live their everyday lives victims. Because these people, I mean, the gentleman that killed the guy in Meriden, he was a dangerous criminal, and he was released. This shouldn't be happening. So I hope you really consider what you're doing.
Thank you. No other questions. Thank you very much.